So I was starting to work on an example bit of code that I was going to post on GitHub and realized that I should really just record some parts of it as I go along. So if there are parts that don't make sense or it seems like I'm struggling a little bit, this is a pretty normal step-by-step approach for me. 'Cause I don't necessarily know everything that I'm going to do before I do it. So this is my game plan going in. I've built something like this before, but I wanted to sort of post it as an example. So it's going to be a tool to download test results and then parse them into a usable format. So first off, it's going to be just grab the file from the test runner, then unzip it, since typically test run information, especially like large amounts of information, tends to get zipped. Then search through the info, then parse it into a usable form. Then delete any items that are downloaded or created that are unnecessary. So far what I've done is I created an object on GitHub, which is test run reader. I'll post a link to it later on. I've created a virtual environment, which basically I just did venv, which uh, is the built-in virtual environment creator. So in order to activate that on Windows, you go into scripts, then you go in activate.bat. I also have built out a very simple mock. So this is the mock server that I built. Basically, I did this by checking on the Flask documentation, just how do you serve files. So it's going to first off create an app, which is a Flask app, which has one uh, one one way that it functions. It has one download, or it has one spot that it goes to, which is you first need to, well, here, let's run it and show you what this looks like. So Python, actually, it's not going to work because I'm in the wrong folder. So Python mock, right? So it's going to activate, and it says now running at 127.0.0.1 5000. Okay, so let's go take a look at localhost 5000. And then we'll go uploads, which I should really drag this over here. Uploads, and then I'll look for, I think I called it hello.txt. Cool. So now it shows that I have a redirect, which is at 300, and it's going to effectively download that. So it now has that object downloaded. So I now have a way to fake that part of the piece. So I don't have to have a Jenkins running somewhere else. I have basically a fake version of Jenkins that I'm going to be downloading stuff from, which is what this code is. So now that I have a fake thing that I'm going to be downloading from, so that I don't have to go in and download it manually every time, let's do something relatively straightforward, which is just def, so let's call it download file, right? And so we'll have file name as the only thing it takes in. Um, so base URL. So I'm going to make this http // 127.0.0.1 5000, right? Because I'm always going to be pointing it at the local, and then the file name equal file name. So, and then what I'm going to then do is I'm going to basically pull this all together as, so URL. So I'm going to make this an F string, and I'll do base URL, and I will do fine, right? Okay, so I need a couple other things here because as we can see from this, I need upload as well. So upload. So let's grab this and throw it in here, right? So now let's do, so, I was gonna do the saving part, but I need to grab the file together. So file, equals requests dot, I think it's just gonna be a get, right? So URL, and I need to call it a content because I want to grab this stuff. And then, so we're gonna do comma, oops. So file, comma. So I need to write binary. That's what WB is as F. So that just means as file, which is just a common way of denoting that. So I'll write file. So now this should work, but I need to import requests. Since I'm importing requests, I need to, well, we need to open a second command. So I have junk running in that first one, which is the mock server. So I'll go repos. This is test runner, and then cd activate. Oops, cd svemb scripts, and then activate.bat. Okay, so I'm going to do pip install requests. So that's going to go and it's going to grab the requests library from the Python, basically the home repository where all of Python's functions, all of their libraries exist. Okay, so now let's save this. We're going to call it download.py or download file. Let's make it specific. Okay, so it does not like the way that I've ended this. Why does it not like the way that I've ended this? F blah, oh. So I've made a mistake there, and it knew enough in order to correct me. So let's do if name equals main. So this is just a function of, or a way that it's giving me a shorthand. So download file, and the file that I want to download is hello.txt. So I need to put that in quotes. Okay, so now we've gotten to this point, let's save it. So I just hit Control S, and I want to try Python download file. So URL is not defined. So I just made a typo. Sometimes I'll make it a little less descriptive. Okay, so let's try that again. So the way that I figured that out was name error, URL is not defined. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so now can we download the file? Cool. So let's do, so we have a hello.world. Let's do type, actually hello.txt is what I'm looking for. So, Okay, so why is that not running how I expected? So it definitely did a thing because it didn't throw an error. So, but it's not fully downloading stuff yet. Okay, so let's see. So when in doubt, throw in a print. So it's definitely getting to that point. So is it writing the file then? So what have I done wrong here? So let's make it a little bit more specific that it's doing a thing. I should have byte like not string. Okay, cool. So I want to write file. So that's correct. And I remember I needed to stick in something slightly different in one of those two spots. Let's try this one. And we now have the text. Cool. That is what we expected. Nice. So now we have a working file. The other thing that I would probably want to do is create a test for this. So let's do def test download file. So the reason I'm doing this is mostly that in a proper TDD structure, like test-driven development, you'd write the test beforehand, but since I'm not doing something that I know a lot about, and I don't have a huge amount of specs on it, like the specifications that I have are mostly, let's go back to those, just sort of do it lines. So I don't have like specifications of what it's supposed to do. So since I'm in this and I know what all these pieces do right now, I'm going to write something that is very specific as to this is what it currently does. This is how I know that it currently is doing the right thing. So download file, and I want it to be hello.txt, right? So let's save that, and I'm going to need to. So I like PyTest. It's just one of the options. You can use unit test, which is built into the Python framework, but I prefer the way that PyTest runs, or the way that PyTest like takes care of a lot of the bits and pieces that you would normally need to do. Okay, so it's not finding that. So let's grab this. It's not finding it because the file itself is not named in a way that it recognizes. So let's do new, and we will name this thing save as. So we're just going to call it test.py and plug this in, and we're going to do from download file import download file. Cool. And then we're going to try this again. Okay, why does it not like that? Because it's not called test. Let's try renaming it. Uh, okay, so now will it like this? Will it find it? Cool, it did. So I needed to drop the S. That's basically it. So the other thing about this is this will only work so long as I have this running. So this is running my Flask server, right? But the thing is, it's not going to work correctly unless the Flask server is running. So let's come over and look at my Flask server. What is my Flask server doing? It is running a whole bunch of stuff. So let's rename some things and do def main. And then yeah, it'll work. And then I want to come back to my test, and I want to from mock Flask server import main. And I want to run main before I do anything. So let's do, so I've stopped running the Flask server, and I'm going to come back to here, and I'm going to rerun this. Cool. So still runs, still passes. or it should be, except it is not. So I've clearly done something wrong because the test is running infinitely, right? Hmm. So I need to figure out a way that I can generate that as a mock. So I think I'm going to cut it off here and come back and figure out, because I probably want to make that a fixture. So I'll leave that as the next thing. One sec.